So what exactly is the 4% rule and why do they say it doesn't work anymore? Well, by the end of this video, you will not only understand what the 4% rule is, but why it does or doesn't work anymore. Welcome back to Navigate Your Wealth. My name is Karen Stawicki. For the best advice on how to use both life insurance and annuities to create a successful retirement, subscribe to our channel and make sure you click on the notifications bell so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. Okay, let's start with what is the 4% rule. Basically, it's just a calculation that's been used to assume that you can take a portfolio and withdraw 4% per year and it will remain intact. Now, the only way that can happen is if the account earns at least 4% per year. But hasn't the market always returned better than 4% per year? Most people think that the market has averaged 10% per year. And while it has actually done that and better in some years, what you need to understand is that accumulation and distribution are two different games. Let me explain. When you are accumulating money, when you are saving for retirement, it doesn't matter what the rate of return is that year. However, when you get into the distribution phase, when it's now time to withdraw, not only does the rate of return that year matter, but the sequence of those returns is critical. Leave a comment in the section below if you've ever known anyone who's been hurt by the 4% rule when the market went down. Also, after this video, check out our next video titled, How Do I Spend My Death Benefit While I'm Alive? To learn how you can let a life insurance policy help you during your lifetime and not just your beneficiaries after you die. Okay, let's get back to it. So it's important to understand why the accumulation and the distribution phases of retirement are so different. Everyone thinks they understand how to calculate the average rate of return. And when you're accumulating, the average rate of return really doesn't mean that much. But when you're withdrawing money, it's the sequence of those returns that could be the difference of making it to the finish line or running out of dollars before heartbeats. Let me explain. When you're accumulating money, the average rate of return is calculated by taking any number of years, adding those returns up, and dividing by that number of years. So let's use 5 years as an example. If you had 3 positive numbers and 2 negative numbers, didn't matter which order they came in. If you add them up and then divide by 5, if you add them forward or backward or any direction, it's still going to come out to the same number. That's the average rate of return. But consider this. When you retire and now you're taking money out, if the first 2 years of your retirement you got those negative rates of return, it could be a big differentiator. Your portfolio could go down and never give you a chance before you even got started. That is why the accumulation and the distribution phases are complete different games. The sequence of returns matters when you're taking money out. I love to use analogies, so here's one to think about. You've saved, you've accumulated, you are ready to retire. You are this close, you can taste it. From a baseball analogy, it's kind of like you've run the bases and now you're standing on third looking at home. It is right there. This is not the time to play chicken with the third baseman and the catcher. You don't want to get greedy. Ask anyone who retired from 2000 to 2010. This is affectionately called the lost decade. The market actually started 2000 and ended 2010 at the exact same place. But that was after it had gone up, gone down, and then come back again, only to where it was 10 years earlier. The 4% rule would not have worked during those 10 years. Here's a perfect example of that. I love to use stories to end our videos so that you can see how this actually relates and applies. In 2009, we had a prospective client come to us. He had retired from AT&T in 2007. He had $2 million. He thought he was going to be set for the rest of his life. At the 4% rule, he was knowing, thinking, believing that he was going to be able to take $80,000 a year for the rest of his life. That combined with some Social Security and a couple of other things, he said, I will be set for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, that was in 2007, and because the market had cooperated all the 5 years prior to that, he kept things just the way they were. It worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Unfortunately, it did break. In 2008, we know the market went down significantly. And by the time he had come to us in 2009 to say, what can I do? His $2 million portfolio had dropped to $1 million. That's right. He lost 50% of his portfolio. But what was worse was based on his previous advisor's thinking and the 4% rule, he was now only able to take $40,000 a year off of that same portfolio, which unfortunately meant that he was going to have to go back to work. When I explained the retirement red zone to him, he said, I wish somebody had told me that sooner. He's not going to make that mistake again, and neither should you. The sequence of returns is everything. When you are in the distribution phase, when you are pulling money out, you can't count on when that bad year is going to come or if that bad year is going to come. Sure, there's a lot of great years, but it's the bad ones that will take you out of the game. Here's one last thing that I'll share with you about the 4% rule. From a probability standpoint, the 4% rule works 70% of the time. But let me put that in a different perspective for you. If you're sitting on a plane on your way to Hawaii and the pilot comes on, welcomes you all to the flight and says, ladies and gentlemen, we have a 70% chance of landing in Hawaii and not the Pacific Ocean, are you going to find a way to get off that plane? If you'd like to learn how to safeguard your retirement and not let the 4% rule or sequence of returns or something else that you just didn't know happen to you, click on the link below to apply to become our client. Also, if you like this video, would you give us a thumbs up and make sure you share it with others? Thanks for watching. And remember, if what you thought to be true turned out not to be, when would you want to know it?